what's invisible to the eye, impossible to resist, imperative in combat, and unites all jiu-jitsu practitioners around the world, regardless of age, rank, or affiliation. ALAVANCA. And it was in full effect at UFC 196. For those who did not guess, alavanca is the Portuguese word for leverage. And without a doubt, this was Grandmaster Helio Gracie's absolute favorite word. In fact, it was probably the very first Portuguese word I ever learned. And is the only Portuguese word that I will never forget. Anyone who ever trained with him knows that there was no jiu-jitsu collaboration or discussion without alavanca. Why? It represented the most powerful principle of jiu-jitsu. It's what enables and has enabled Davids to beat Goliaths for the last 90 plus years, and what allows this guy to do his magic inside and outside the octagon, even against opponents who are much stronger than them. What's crazy is that we released the first alavanca t-shirt on Friday, and on Saturday, alavanca shocked the world. Twice. You guys, wasn't it crazy how jiu-jitsu won? The hype, jiu-jitsu for the win, right? You felt like this. It was amazing, like, explode.
Jump back to team jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu. There was a huge hype on Saturday for good reasons, right? It was in the mix right there. But there's also a lot of haters, like, no, boxing, MMA, this, jiu-jitsu's okay, but it's not that good. And there's all this, like, controversy. You guys, listen, when we say jiu-jitsu won, we don't mean it in the traditional sense of Royce Gracie versus Art Jimerson, jiu-jitsu versus boxer. No. One art versus another. That's not what we're saying, because those days are long over. Everyone does jiu-jitsu now. Everyone boxes, everyone kickboxes, everyone's wrestling, right?
That's why it's called MMA.
That's everything.
Martial arts.
It's a mix. So Conor is jiu-jitsu. Misha, Holly, Nate, they're all team jiu-jitsu. Yep. The reason we say jiu-jitsu won on Saturday night at UFC 196 is because on the world's biggest fighting stage, in two of the fights, highest profile fights of the year, when it mattered most, jiu-jitsu scored the touchdown. It was the MVP. And why are we so excited by that? Because people want to practice what impresses them and what they remember the most. And what was most memorable was those amazing rear naked chokes and their setups at the critical moments that they occurred in the fight. So we're just happy that jiu-jitsu got the spotlight, got the hype, got the thing, but not that Nate was jiu-jitsu and Conor wasn't. Because if jiu-jitsu won on Saturday night, then that means that jiu-jitsu also lost because the people who got choked were also jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
And jiu-jitsu did not lose on Saturday night. It only won. Okay? So if you're a jiu-jitsu instructor, you're stoked because you're going to get more students. Everyone's Googling the next day, where's the closest jiu-jitsu school? If you're a jiu-jitsu student, how do you feel? Yeah, I'm doing the right thing. That's what's up. And if you're a jiu-jitsu spectator, what are you feeling?
I need to learn that.
Google nearest jiu-jitsu academy, you guys. So that's what we mean by that. And what's so dope is very rare there are big monumental occasions like this where jiu-jitsu gets so much hype that all the kind of petty politics that plague the BJJ community, if you know what I mean, those who train, kind of just disappear. And we all become united above as team jiu-jitsu, as, you know, alavanca, leverage applied in combat on the highest level. So suddenly it doesn't matter who you train with or where you train, you're just team jiu-jitsu, or what we call jiu-jitsu united. You guys, we predicted that as well. And it was great to feel that, right? Yeah, jiu-jitsu all the way. And that's the vibe. That's what we're in it. That's why we were so excited, you guys. So for the haters out there, go find a school and start training. For the team, jiu-jitsu, jiu-jitsu united, members of the world, guess what? Keep doing what you're doing. We can't wait to feel your chokes or choke and just collaborate on the mat. Come here. We'd love to have you guys part of the team here anytime you want. Now, let's get down to business. Holly Holm, Misha Tate. Crazy, right? So Holly takes rounds 1, 3, and 4, right, based on the judges' scorecard. Misha gets round 2, and it was a 10-8 round. They revealed the scorecard. They showed a 10-8. If Misha would have won the 5th round, but not submitted her, it would have been a draw. In a title bout, Holly would have retained the title, Misha would have not taken it, and they may have fight again in the future. It would have been dramatic because it was an amazing fight. Now, people have been begging for a Ronda Rousey, Holly Holm breakdown. You guys, I know you're out there. You guys are still angry that you didn't get one. Well, let me just say this, and then we'll get on to the breakdown. I'm very loyal to you guys. I appreciate all the YouTube viewers and all the comments. Haters or not, I love you guys. You guys know that. But I'm slightly more loyal to the professional fighters that are here, blood, sweat, tears, putting in the work and getting down in the octagon. Just a little bit more loyal. So when a fight happens where a representative and a student here of the academy goes in there and comes up short, there's not a high level of enthusiasm to share with the world everything they could have done different or did wrong, because there's an emotional connection to Brian, to Rhonda, to Lyoto, to all the other guys and girls who we are able to help out. Whoever comes through here, the loyalty is to them first. So we love you guys, but we love them first and foremost. And don't get it twisted. Even when a fighter loses, there's always a Gracie breakdown.
They break me down if I lose. Don't worry.
It hasn't happened yet,
not
bro.
behind the scenes. But even when I lost jiu-jitsu matches.
That's true. And even when you lose an engagement or you did a move wrong or there's something happened, we don't go that public with that. You guys, the breakdown always happens. It just doesn't make it on YouTube, if you know what I'm saying. It just goes down in that little room over there. So, loyalty here first. But if it's all good with them, then we go there second. And that's what's up. But either way, so Holly and Misha, amazing fight. And Misha had success. I'll say this, right? Holly did a great job with Rhonda. It's not a rocket science. Preventing Rhonda's clinch and takedown, upper body takedown strategies. Holly trained specifically for that. It was like a very targeted effort, and she was successful. She was successful, right? But Misha didn't come in with the same takedown tactic. Misha came in with the lower double legs, right? So where she's shooting, double legs, and she's throwing leg hooks and taking her down, right? And they're ending up in the bottom of the fight here. So it was a half guard situation here where for that second round where Misha dominated so beautifully, I was impressed by Misha's control in the half guard and the ability to keep Holly underneath her and still do so much damage, right? What does that say about the situation?
Yeah, well, what that says is pretty much, I mean, man, to have good control, especially on Holly Holm, because I know she knows jiu-jitsu, that's something big, you know, because Holly from here, she could probably put her in guard, start working her get-ups right here.
Right.
Start trying to get up. But the fact that she couldn't do that showed how
Means
good
that really
control. Yeah, how when she was smashing the hips.
Amazing, yeah. And that one time where this arm snuck through to turn in, and then Misha comes in with the half Nelson and flattened her out. So there was just this incredible, and Misha had no desire to pass, by the way. Let's not get it twisted. Not that she couldn't pass. She didn't want to.
Because she was making Holly Holm's life miserable. She was putting her hand all over her face. She was striking her.
Especially when it happens so early in the round, you want to draw it out and let it go and boom, boom, and do some damage and let this hand. She did it perfectly. She rode out that whole round, got a 10-8, spectacular performance. At the end, Holly finally came under, slip your leg out there, and came out the back door, right, tried to come up, and that's when Misha put the hooks in, took the back, and they scrambled for a little while, and then several choke attempts, but Holly defended them perfectly. And part of the reason was she would wrap the neck, gable grip, and was trying to choke here, but the gable grip, as good as it is, it's also very accessible to the grab. So every time Holly was able to reach up, get that hook on the wrist or the thumb, and pull the hands down and tuck her chin back in, and then go 2-on-1. So she effectively defended the chokes in round 2. So Holly's confidence with Misha on her back is pretty solid. She survived the choke in round 2, right?
Yeah.
So then it goes round 3, round 4, which go to Holly on the judges' scorecard. And then round 5, another duck under, kind of double leg, rear takedown, a little more of a spin around. So switch that, yeah. So she throws the jab, she slipped under, she grabbed, they spun and they fell down like this, boom. And then right away, let's rotate to the front here. So right away, she starts trying to get up, right? Boom. And then Holly had like a little leg right here in the back leg. She puts in this hook over here. And then, right as Holly starts to stand up, start to get up, that's when Misha sunk the choke and locks it in 100%. So she had one hook, and generally speaking, if someone has like an over-under or a loose choke on your neck and one hook, you can like lean forward and throw me off, and I'll fall off the front side and I'll lose it, right? But there gets to a certain point of choke where that's not gonna happen. Right? And that's what Misha had. It was so deep.
Misha got this super lock because she recycled exactly what she was doing, what she messed up in the second round. Yeah. She realized if she gets the gable grip in the second round, it's not going to work.
Right.
So in the 5th round, she made sure she locked it in. She put it real tight so Holly Holm can't reach behind this. So and then once this choke is in, even if this hook wasn't in, if I try to flip Rener, this choke is going to keep him attached to me.
You're going. There are certain depth of chokes that are so ridiculous, so much what?
ALAVANCA.
That even if you flip someone, you're gonna go with them. The leverage is too powerful, you guys. So from here, even with one hook, she did the flop, they fell together, boom! And then they ended up, let's rotate, 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 rotate. They ended up with the choke fully intact. That's when she brought her second hook in and was squeezing here. Holly tried to find the hand. Go find my hand behind your head. There's no hand, you guys. It's tucked away And then of course,
yeah, then she knew she was about to get finished, and she even threw like these little like, oh man, I can't believe I got caught like that.
Well, and that's part. Sometimes you're borderline passing out. You throw random punches and you try to tackle the ref or do things. So we don't know what the effect was. But one thing is certain: ALAVANCA, invisible to the eye, impossible to resist, imperative in combat. Guess what? Impossible to resist. Holly tried to resist, and we saw what happened. Boom, she goes to sleep. That's what we're talking about. When ALAVANCA perfectly applied, you're going, you guys. It's a done deal.
Don't put me to sleep.
Now, here's what's crazy. After the fight was all said and done, one of my students, Lyndon, one of my private students, super dedicated purple belt, was like, Rener, the legs were crossed. And I didn't even notice it. I was so excited during the fight. It was so crazy that no one's looking down there. They're looking right here at the hands. He said, Rener, the legs were crossed. And since everybody always wants to know what they should do in Holly's situation, right? That's what the breakdowns are partially for. What could you have done? Holly knows this move. Misha knows not to cross her feet. And what's crazy is I cross my feet sometimes when I get excited, right? Because if you go in the guard, face me, bro, front guard, we cross our feet. That's the way you secure someone, right? It's a solid secure. And your feet are not in danger if you just cross them in the guard. Now, if you triangle someone's guard right here, and then Brian does his move where he steps back, catches your foot, and now sits back, and that's a tap out right there. But just generally crossing the feet normal is safe from the guard. When you turn around, bro, go ahead. If we turn around and I cross this foot over and Brian brings his leg over, look, right on my ankle, my toes, he locks his figure four. Look, now if he just leans back and hips up, breaks the ankle. And while the choke is somewhat of a dimming effect, this is a break and a snap and a pop and a done deal, you guys.
So at this point, it just becomes a race.
Oh yeah, and you don't want to be...
Can you break the foot before you go to sleep?
And generally, it takes 6 seconds to go to sleep. How many seconds to break a foot? One. And that's incredible ALAVANCA right there. You're using it, it's an actual lever. You're pushing down here, the fulcrum is your hips, and you're breaking. That's like a literal lever on their ankle, causing their foot to break in the process. So it was just so cool that Lyndon noticed that, and that was pretty magnificent. All right, before we get into Conor and Nate, the seminars that are coming up are ridiculous. I'm going to Maryland in May. I'm going to Korea in May. I'm going to Tokyo in June. Super seminars across the board. Hedon is going to Canada, Tampa, New York, Cape Town, South Africa, all kinds of seminars, you guys. Go to gracieacademy.com/seminars for all the dates and details. If you're in one of those areas or within a few hundred miles, get there, learn the details. Jiu-Jitsu night. Let's make it happen. Conor versus Nate Diaz. First round. On the stand-up exchanges, who would you give it to?
I'd give it to Conor, man.
In the first round, he came out.
More efficient. You know what I'm saying? He used his movement well.
And Nate said it after the fight. He said, yo, I'm going to come in. I'm going to take a while to get warmed up. Why?
Because he didn't have a camp.
He didn't have a camp. 10 days notice. He was on a yacht in Cabo when he got the call for, right?
Yeah, he was taking shots.
No, we don't know what he was doing, okay? We weren't there.
Put it on Instagram.
Okay, never mind. We know what he was doing. But he got the call, 10 days notice, no camp, no sparring, no nothing. Just come in and get down and go do it. Amazing. Well, that's because they stay in good shape year round. Fitness for them, stay ready so they don't got to get ready kind of thing. Anyways, first round, at some point, he threw a kick, right? So,
he threw a kick and he caught it with a single.
So, boom. Okay, yeah, so you come over here. So you're Nate, you catch this right here. Boom, he took him down. Boom, so Conor fell down right here, and right away, Conor put both hooks in, pulled him into an ankle wrap right here, and then immediately inverted this. Can you flip me around a little bit this way? There you go. Invert it into an X guard right here, you guys. Now, X guard in MMA is rare if it ever happens. Why? One simple reason. You don't control the front hip of the person, you're punchable. Generally speaking, you have to control the front hip in order to be safe from strikes. It's very simple. Front hip, punch, kick, do whatever. If he clears that foot off the hip, I'm tucking in, I'm going back, I'm kicking. You really want to control. If you're in an X guard and we stay here, we're done. But what's cool is that as soon as Conor fell, he wrapped this outside ankle. He had this one. He knocked it straight down. A beautiful X guard, ankle pick, single leg X guard, ankle pick sweep. Tucked his leg up, got up, and then now they're striking from here, and the round ended with Nate doing great punch protection from the guard, Conor attacking, but that was round one right there. It was just noteworthy that Conor hit an amazing sweep on a very high level jiu-jitsu black belt. And
as soon as he got taken down.
Round two comes out. People are hyping the jiu-jitsu, but the reality is, and Conor acknowledged this, Nate said it for sure. He would have got a TKO stand. He felt he was gonna get a TKO.
Yeah.
But then what happened? We call the desperate double leg. You shoot because you're getting beat up standing up.
Yeah.
And when Conor McGregor shoots on Nate Diaz, you know that things are not going according to Conor's plans.
Absolutely.
The system got messed up. And then what happened next was pretty spectacular. Pretty spectacular. And I think a lot of people didn't see the guillotine. Let's talk about it. So at this point, it was a left-handed guillotine. So after they're both southpaw, right? So they're here, boom, boom. Yeah, you're gonna shoot right here. His head came to this side. Right? He took him down, they fell, boom. And then interestingly is that he shot the guillotine, but my leg, get over this leg, go behind this one. Yes! So what's crazy is that they ended up in a very interesting leg configuration here where Conor was behind Nate's top leg. And what's crazy is that Nate shot this very deep guillotine in the process. Now, if he was given the time, Conor would have jumped to the other side, the safe side, and defended the guillotine in the most basic way possible. Let's go back. Perfect. The problem is, Nate knows that. So right here, he ended up with, go ahead, jump to the backside. This little hook, look at this little hook. Look at the little hook. And with Nate's long arms, he was able to penetrate all the way through to this high elbow kind of pushing guillotine here, where even if Conor would have passed, it would have been bad, right? But he didn't pass. So at this point, Conor felt this pressure, beautiful guillotine modification, and then Conor did what he did perfectly against Chad Mendes, which is this body flop. Boom! Now in previous fights, he kept rolling and got up on top. And that's a risky guillotine escape, but if you get up, we saw what happened against Chad Mendes. He got up, got out, saved himself, won the fight.
Yep.
But in this case, it didn't go down like that. Well, we did a Gracie breakdown, I think it was you and me, for the Conor McGregor-Chad Mendes fight. We don't know if Nate saw it. But the information was out there. Nate saw the fight, that's for sure, so he knew exactly what to expect in terms of Conor's kind of guillotine flop where you flip to your back and try to spin out. So he was ready for it, right? You see, you incorporate, and you recycle. So from here, he shot the deep guillotine. He had the leg hooked like that, and right when Conor flopped right here, right when Conor flopped, go ahead, bro. Right when he flopped, Nate put an underhook. He put this kind of like reverse whizzer, we'll call it, right? Because it's kind of like I'm whizzering this arm. Or a near side underhook. You can call it whatever you want, right? Whatever this was, his arm hook right here was spectacular because it prevented Conor, go to your knees, so getting up. And right away he kept this and kept turning. He kept getting stuck right here. And then he felt comfortable enough to mount. Now what's crazy is had Nate pulled this arm out to hit him right now, he would have lost Conor. And this is where the jiu-jitsu mastery reveals itself, is in these critical exchanges where you may want to get emotional, but instead you say, nope, you're not getting up, buddy. We're going to stay right. Position before submission, position before punch. Okay, so right here, he goes, he catches him. At this point, he slides his knee and goes right to modified mount. Why? Anytime someone's body is sideways, you want to have a modified mount. Front leg up, back knee down. Because if you have both knees down, they're very elbow escapable right here. They can work and trap your leg. So Nate right here tucked the foot into Conor's hip, knowing that he didn't want to let him work that elbow escape. And he still had this. Keep going.
His knee tight, yeah.
Keep going to your knees. What's crazy is there came a moment where Conor realized that was not going to go down. He was not going to get up. Yeah. So he flips back facing, and that's when Nate let this go. Isn't it dope that he used it until you respected it, right? It wasn't like Nate was here, Conor was trying, and he pulled out and let him, because he would have still got up and scrambled out of there. So he stayed, held, and he was pinching, came back, boom, 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 and a couple of strikes and right away. Now people saying, well, why didn't Conor just trap and roll? Why didn't Conor just escape the mount in a technical jiu-jitsu way? You guys, it doesn't matter how much jiu-jitsu you know, when someone who knows more jiu-jitsu is on top of you, your jiu-jitsu sucks. I felt it, you felt it. Doesn't matter how much you know.
Like right now, my jiu-jitsu sucks.
Now, that doesn't mean that Conor's jiu-jitsu is poor, generally speaking. It's amazing, it's world class, and he's up there competing with high-level guys. It just means that when Nate's on top, it's hard to recognize the ability that he has in jiu-jitsu because he neutralizes every aspect of it. So it's very amateur, non-jiu-jitsu students who are saying these things about Conor not having jiu-jitsu, or oh my gosh, he doesn't know anything, he's a white. He's not, he's very good at jiu-jitsu.
To be able to pull that X-guard sweep, you gotta know what's up.
To be able to survive the initial guillotine with Chad Mendes or flop on the first guillotine against Nate right now, you had to survive all that stuff, you guys. It was spectacular. In either case, couple strikes, and then at this point, he turns, right? So he bridges, he rolls, he gets up, he puts both hooks in, get your hips up, both, and flattens them out right here, boom. Okay, hip pressure. Now at this point, he shoots the choking hand. The problem is, Conor turns the wrong way. Nate wants Conor's face looking into the elbow. So then came the most strategically placed and beautifully applied, boom! Single strike, pushes Conor's face right into the elbow, and then he locks it in, hip pressure, and immediate tap. And it wasn't like the tap that I'm about to pass out. That was the tap of I'm not getting out of here. You feel me? Yeah. It was like you got me. It was a high level of respect. And when Nate's on your neck, you pretty much know you're not gonna just finagle your way out of there. It's a done deal. It was a respectful gesture. I felt like you got me. you know?
Yeah.
Versus making me squeeze until I'm about to pass out. You didn't even need any of that. Now what's crazy is that jiu-jitsu, right, translates in Japanese to gentleness art, gentle art. That's why they always say, oh, the gentle art, the gentle art. And it was beautiful to see how Nate was on top, and he just used enough strategic strikes to get the desired outcome, to get Conor to flip over, to apply the choke, to come under the neck, and essentially finish with perfect ALAVANCA application.
Because he could have went hella a la Stockton on him right there.
He could have went a la Stockton, but he chose ALAVANCA, leverage, jiu-jitsu, clean, simple, gentle. So when someone called me up, it was Mike Safai was like, Rener, that was very nice of him. Like, it could have been so much worse. The punishment and the blood and the payback for cutting his eye could have been so much worse, but instead, punch, punch, turn, choke. Clean and simple. Conor looked fine after the fight because Nate went jiu-jitsu, went ALAVANCA on him, and it was spectacular to see. Now, here's what's crazy. Throughout all of this, the biggest revelation for us was after the fight. Conor was interviewed multiple times and said the same thing in slightly different words to everyone. Punches that I landed on Nate in the first round have dropped featherweights of the very high caliber, straight up. But going up so many weight classes, they had no impact on Nate.
Or he figured it would have took a lot more than
way more
featherweights.
Right.
And he said it.
He said it. I just didn't have the same effect. Straight up. He was too big, just kept coming, took him and kept coming. And this is so interesting because you often hear us, we're kind of biased, but you often hear us say jiu-jitsu is the most effective and most amazing martial art on the planet. And you say, oh no, boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, all this stuff. Yes, trust me, if I could snap my fingers and master every one of them at the degree that I know jiu-jitsu, I would do that. It's not bad to know. But what I'm saying when I say jiu-jitsu is the most effective martial art on the planet is that when Brian gets a choke on a heavyweight's neck, he doesn't say, man, this choke works on featherweights, but Rener, this guy who's 220 pounds, this choke does not have the same effect. Right? Yeah. There is no. My grandfather never said, if he's a big guy, I don't know if I can choke him the same. No. Jiu-jitsu is an art that is entirely, because of its application of
ALAVANCA.
Because of the ALAVANCA masterful application, the weight class doesn't matter. And when you have the right ALAVANCA incorporation and mastery levels, the choke, you're going to sleep no matter what, you guys. I don't care what your weight class is. In fact, some of the big boys go to sleep faster. Their joints break. Things are going to break no matter what. So you don't hear a jiu-jitsu master say, oh, if he's 2 weight classes up, I don't know if my choke is going to work. But Conor acknowledged and admitted that by going a few weight classes up, his strikes did not have the impact they had. So when we say jiu-jitsu is the most effective martial art, what we mean is if you're a regular civilian and you want to learn self-defense and you want to learn something and you're going to possibly be defending yourself where there's no weight classes on the street, there's no judge, there's no 10-point must system, there's no rules and no time limit. You want to know a martial art that does not have a weight class, limitation or asterisk to its effectiveness. I've never heard any jiu-jitsu master say, yeah, I put the choke on, but he was too big, so he didn't tap. No, they nap regardless because it's impossible to resist. We already talked about that. All right, you guys, time to break the mold. This is not a Gracie giveaway today. It's a Jiu-Jitsu United giveaway. Here's how this works. Share this video on Facebook. Let your friends know. Educate the masses about jiu-jitsu. Because if there's any fight that's going to get them hyped about it, it's this one. And if any breakdown is going to get them excited about it, it's the details. Share this video. Leave a comment on the video and let us know your rank, your belt rank, which academy or affiliation you train with.
What if they don't train?
If you don't train, then you don't qualify for the Jiu-Jitsu United ALAVANCA movement. You're a spectator. Now, for those people, listen, for those people, you don't need to leave comments. You know what you need to do? Google the nearest Jiu-Jitsu academy in your community and get cracking. All right?
Sign up to the academy and then say you're a white belt.
So you guys, tell us your rank, tell us your affiliation, who you train with, and whether you prefer an ALAVANCA t-shirt or an ALAVANCA hoodie. Dang, bro, look at the pinstripe lining, bro. On the Baja, fresh, perfect.
Yours look better.
Jiu-Jitsu United. You guys, listen. You choose. Are you in the tropics of Hawaii? You don't need a hoodie. Or are you in the snow of Minnesota? You decide. Let us know what you want. Leave it in the comment. Here's what we're going to do. Over the next 15 days, we're going to select 15 random winners from 15 different academy affiliations. And we're going to announce them to win either the hoodie or the ALAVANCA t-shirt. Jiu-Jitsu United, you guys. It's very simple. You choose what you want. We're going to select the winners. And anybody who wins these, of these 15 people that we choose, you can come to the Gracie Academy at any time for the rest of the year and train for up to a month for free. Jiu-Jitsu united you guys on the mat, and that's what's up. And those of you who do not have a school, you don't qualify for this contest. I'm sorry. I truly am. However, find a school near you, like our man Vince Vaughn, who just recently joined the team right here, and get cracking so you can unite with the rest of us. Much respect. Acai roots, more than a berry, a lifestyle.